We've said that over the course of a piece, a composer might choose to modulate the music, as in change from one key to another. And the reason they might do that is to maybe give the music a sense of journey. So we might start in one key, modulate to somewhere else, so that sounds like something quite different from where we started off, or our home key, and they might bring the piece to a close by coming back to that more familiar place where they started, and that gives us a kind of arching sense of journey throughout the piece of music. Now, it turns out that composers think very, very carefully about which keys they're going to modulate to, and they definitely don't just pick one at random and try and modulate there. So in this video, we're going to have a look at an idea known as related keys. And it's very useful to know these related keys or relationships between keys, because they really give us a good idea of the choices that are most likely to help us when we want to modulate our music. Now, depending on what key the piece of music is in, all of the related keys will be different, but actually the relationships between the key we're currently in and the keys that we're most likely to modulate to are always the same. For example, if we're in the key of F major, the key that we're most likely to modulate to, if we look at music probably over the course of the last 400 years, the most common modulation will be to the dominant key. So in the case of F major, of course, the dominant key is the key built on the fifth note of F major, and so the fifth note of the F major scale is C major. And so this is perhaps the most common modulation that you'll find. And so you could imagine a piece working very well where we have something, an opening bit of music that's in F major, then a new bit of music that's in C major, having gone on that journey from F major to C major, and we'll look at how we go on that journey and actually change the key of the music later on. And after that, after being in C major for a while, coming back to F major and completing the piece of music with this nice, rounded, complete shape. And so that's a hugely important key relationship, the relationship between the tonic of the music, as in the home key, and the dominant key. As I said, that's the most commonly used modulation normally, from the tonic to the dominant. But we've got some other choices as well. We might choose to modulate to the subdominant. So in this case, that would be, of course, B flat major. And this is the subdominant. The subdominant, of course, being the fourth step of the scale. So the fourth step of the F major scale is B flat major. And if we wanted to modulate from the tonic to the subdominant, we make the move from F major to B flat major. Modulating your piece to the dominant or the subdominant is a really common choice, but what if you want to change the underlying colour or scale of the music? Imagine that you're fed up of using the really nice bright colours of F major and you actually want to use the slightly darker colour of some kind of minor scale. Well, probably the most commonly chosen minor scale to modulate to from a major key will be that scale's relative minor. And the relative minor for F major is D minor. And the reason they have that relationship, we call them the relative minor, is actually they have the same set of notes. If you compare F major and D natural minor, you'll find they use exactly the same notes. In this case, all of the white notes except for the B flat. So B flat is the only accidental in both F major and D minor. There's also one more minor scale that we could say is being related to F major, and that's actually the minor scale that starts on an F, so F minor. And we call this the parallel minor scale because it starts on the same note as the major scale. And the reason why we can get away with modulating here, the reason that this doesn't sound like too awkward a move or journey in our music, is that we've used the same tonic note for both of these keys. And so our ear is quite good at saying, oh, actually, no, I do know where I am here. I know this is approximately an area that I can cope with. It's just that the colour has changed slightly. So we've changed from the colour of the major scale to the colour of the minor scale. And we're quite good at sort of dealing with that change in the music as it unfolds. So hopefully this generalises what we've been saying. If we're in any major key, our most common destinations for modulating, so most common destination keys are going to be the keys of the dominant, the subdominant, the relative minor, and the parallel minor, which is using the same tonic note but changing our scale from major to minor. So just to round off, I think it'd be quite good to explore, why are these keys so good? Why are they such good destinations for modulation? The reason why is that these are the keys and scales that have the most similarities with our tonic scale. It doesn't matter which of the 12 major scales we look at around this circle, those relationships will be the most similar. So let's have a quick look for C major, for example, because we used F major before. Let's have a look at how C major compares with its related keys. So in this example, our dominant key is going to be G. It's one step around the circle of fifths and represents the key associated with the fifth step of the C major scale. The first thing we can do is compare the scales of those two keys, because that will tell us a lot about the sorts of melodies and harmonies we can expect to find once we've modulated the music to this new place. So let's have a look at C major. C major, of course, just uses white notes, and that's indicated here on our circle of fifths with just the natural sign. And G major just has one sharp. So the only difference between the scales of C major and G major is this one sharp. So there's only really one note that's different. And so that's the reason why our ear can kind of cope with a movement from C major to G major, because the difference in the two scales is really small. The same is true here at the subdominant. So the subdominant of C major is F major, and as we see going round the circle of fifths in the other direction, there's also only one note different between the scales of C major and F major. In this case, the B natural that we'd find in the C major scale becomes a B flat that we'd find in the F major scale. If we take a look down here at the relative minor, we'll see there are even fewer differences between the two scales, our C major scale and our A minor scale. Really, all that's different between these two scales is that we're starting the scale on a different note. C major makes use of only white notes going from C to C, and A natural minor makes use of only white notes going from A to A. So you can understand how our ear could logically make this connection, and if we were to move from C major to A minor, our ear can kind of bridge that gap and hear that as a smooth transition from one key to the next. As I said before, there's one final common related key that comes up all the time in all sorts of different styles of music, and that's using the parallel minor. So moving from the major key starting on a particular note to the minor key starting on a particular note. Now if we look on our circle of fifths for C minor, actually that's all the way over here, so there's quite a big difference. If we look at the key signature for C major, no sharps and flats at all in the key signature, the scale is only white notes. But by the time we've gotten over here to C minor, we've actually got 3 flats in the key signature, and it does use quite a lot of different notes in the scale. But the one thing it has in common, which allows us to connect these two together and say they're related keys, is of course the tonic note. And it's that reason that allows our ear, again, to accept a movement from C major to the corresponding C minor scale as a smooth connection and a move that doesn't sound awkward. And so that's the reason why we can call C minor a related key to C major.